My wife posted an engagement photo with her assistant. I said yes. V commented, "Congrats, just tagging our divorce lawyer." The post vanished. But seconds later, she was frantically calling, begging me to retract the screenshots I sent her parents. Chapter 1. The post. I wasn't expecting to find out like this. It was a quiet Sunday evening and I was scrolling mindlessly through my phone when her name popped up on my feed. And my wife, smiling in a photo. Her left hand stretched toward the camera, a diamond glittering on her finger. Next to her was her assistant. The man I'd welcomed into our home countless times, the one she swore was just a coworker. The caption froze me. I said yes. For a moment I couldn't breathe. 30 seconds earlier, I thought I was married. Now, my wife had announced to the world that she was engaged. To someone else. Comments poured in, hearts and claps, friends congratulating her, oblivious to the fact that she was still legally married. My hands shook as I stared at the screen. And then, without even thinking, I typed 4 words that would flip her world upside down. "Congrats, just tagging our divorce lawyer." I hit send. Within seconds, the tone of the comments shifted. Hearts and, "so happy for you," turned into gasps, confusion and awkward silence. But I wasn't done yet. Screenshots were powerful, and I knew exactly who needed to see them first. Her parents. Chapter 2. The screenshots. The instant my comment went live, the internet turned on its head. The likes stopped, the congratulations froze mid-sentence. And then came the awkward silence. The kind of silence that you can feel even through a screen. But I wasn't relying on silence, I wanted impact. With a few taps, I captured everything. Her glowing post with the ring. My reply tagging the divorce lawyer. The cascade of confused comments that followed. I bundled them neatly and sent them straight to her parents. A simple message accompanied them. "Thought you should see how your daughter chose to announce the end of our marriage." I didn't add anything else. I didn't need to. 10 minutes later my phone vibrated non-stop. Her mother's name appeared first, then her father's, then, finally, her. Her texts were frantic. "Take it down right now. You don't understand, this was a mistake. Please don't show my parents." But it was too late. I had already pressed send. When her parents called me, their voices were a mix of confusion and fury. Not at me, but at her. They had believed their daughter was a faithful wife. A respectable professional. Now, in one viral moment, her lies had been laid bare before the very people whose approval she craved most. And while they were reeling, I sat quietly on my couch, phone in hand, letting the weight of the truth settle where it belonged. She thought she was untouchable, flaunting her affair on social media for the world to see. But the world now included her parents. And that was only the beginning of her unraveling. Chapter 3. The desperate calls. The screenshots had done their work. By the time I silenced my phone for the night, I'd already ignored over a dozen missed calls. Her father left me a single voicemail, his voice trembling with restrained rage. What on earth was she thinking, posting something like that while still married? "Don't you worry, we'll handle this." For a man who had always defended his daughter blindly, those words were enough to tell me the ground beneath her was crumbling fast. Her mother's messages took a different tone. "Please, don't make this worse than it already is. Think of your reputation too. Take it down." But what she didn't realize was that I had already considered that, and decided the truth was worth far more than silence. And then came her calls. Dozens of them. The first few were angry. "You're ruining everything. You're petty and bitter." The next ones turned desperate. "Please, I'll delete the post. Just tell me you'll delete the screenshots. My parents can't see this. My career." Her voice cracked. She had gone from proud and smug on social media to begging like a child caught red-handed. I answered once, just once. I let her pour out excuses, lies, apologies, a torrent of words that meant nothing. When she finished, I said calmly, "You wanted the world to see your engagement. I just made sure the right people did." And then I hung up. She thought she could humiliate me with a smile and a hashtag. But humiliation, once unleashed, doesn't go back in the bottle. And this was only the first wave. By the next morning, the damage had already spread far beyond anything she could control. Her parents called me again, not to scold, but to apologize. "We raised her better than this," her father said quietly, voice heavy with shame. For years, they'd looked at me as the outsider, the one lucky to have their daughter. Now, they couldn't even look me in the eye without guilt. Her carefully built image as the golden child had shattered overnight, and the cracks spread straight through her family. It didn't take long for the screenshots to leak beyond the family. Someone forwarded them to her company group chat. By lunch, her coworkers were whispering behind her back, engaged to her assistant while still married. "Did you see her husband's comment tagging the divorce lawyer?" The assistant, the man in the photo, was pulled into HR that same day. His career and hers were suddenly tangled in a scandal that neither could talk their way out of. She tried damage control, deleting the post, blocking comments, even making her account private. But the internet never forgets. Screenshots were already circulating. Friends texted her asking if it was true. Some even tagged her in posts with mocking captions. I said yes to the wrong man. Every time she refreshed her phone, another blow landed. That evening, she showed up at my place, eyes swollen from crying, voice trembling. Please delete the screenshots. My parents won't talk to me. Work is on my back. Everyone thinks I'm disgusting." I looked at her, the woman who had once laughed at me behind my back, who had thought she could flaunt betrayal as if it were a trophy. And I said only this. "You wanted the world to see your new engagement. Don't blame me because they saw the truth too." I closed the door. She thought she could rewrite the story of our marriage with a hashtag and a stolen moment of pride. But I had written the final caption. And the story was only just beginning. Chapter 5: The legal strike. The public humiliation was bad enough for her. But the real blow came when I moved from screenshots to paperwork. While she was still scrambling to do damage control, I was sitting in my attorney's office. The evidence I had, the post, my reply, her frantic messages, was more than just social embarrassment. It was proof of infidelity, of misconduct, and of public humiliation that directly impacted my reputation. My lawyer smiled as he slid a folder across the desk. "She wanted to announce her engagement. Fine. We'll make it official, through a divorce filing that leaves her with nothing." Within days, papers were served. Grounds: adultery and public defamation. All joint assets were frozen pending investigation. Her little assistant Fiank was subpoenaed as part of discovery. And because she had flaunted the betrayal publicly, the case leaned heavily in my favor before it even began. When the notice landed in her hands, she panicked. She came storming to my place again, tears streaking her cheeks. "You can't do this. Please think of my job, my future." I didn't mean. I cut her off. "No, you meant it. You just didn't mean to get caught." She begged me to retract, to work things out quietly. But this wasn't going to be quiet anymore. She had tried to turn my marriage into a spectacle, parading her assistant as her new prize. Now, the law itself was turning her life into a spectacle she couldn't control, and the final verdict hadn't even been delivered yet. The courtroom wasn't just a place for justice that day. It was the stage where every ounce of her arrogance finally came back to crush her. When the judge entered, her lawyer tried to spin the story, that the engagement post was taken out of context, that it was a misunderstanding between colleagues. But the evidence spoke louder. The original post. My comment tagging the divorce lawyer. Screenshots of her frantic messages begging me to delete everything. HR reports confirming her relationship with her assistant was more than professional. The judge's face said it all. The ruling came swift and brutal. Adultery confirmed. The engagement photo was more than enough. Assets split in my favor. With her misconduct on record, she lost her claim to spousal support. Legal costs awarded to me. Every cent of the trial, she had to pay. Career fallout. Her assistant was terminated, and her own role was placed under review. The whispers around her office turned into open condemnation. When the judge finalized the decree, I looked at her. The woman who once smirked while posting, I said yes, sat broken, pale, unable to even meet my eyes. She had mocked me as disposable. She had flaunted betrayal as a trophy. But in the end, she was left with nothing. Not even the illusion of control. On social media, she had written, "I said yes." But the world remembered my reply. "Congrats. Just tagging our divorce lawyer." It was poetic justice that echoed through every corner of her life. Epilogue. Years later. Since you asked me to continue, let's push this saga further into the long-term impact, where betrayal fades, but consequences linger like scars. Time wasn't kind to her. Career. With the HR report and court records floating around, she never fully recovered professionally. Every interview seemed to circle back to the incident. She bounced between jobs, each one smaller and less glamorous than the last. Reputation. Among friends and family, her name became shorthand for arrogance backfiring. Even in casual gatherings, her story would resurface as a warning. Don't end up like her. Relationships. Her assistant-turned-fiancé didn't last either. The pressure of scandal crushed their bond quickly. By the time the dust settled, she was alone. Exactly as she had once toasted she wanted to be, only without the glitter of admiration. While she scrambled, you thrived. Professional growth. Without her draining influence, your focus sharpened. Opportunities you once missed fell into place. You climbed steadily, quietly, without needing to prove anything. Social respect. Friends and family who once doubted you now saw you as the one who kept dignity through chaos. You weren't the fool. You were the survivor who let truth do the talking. Peace. The greatest reward wasn't the settlement or the house. It was the silence. No more arguments, no more betrayal lurking in your own home. Just peace. Back then, her bold caption read, "I said yes." But in the years that followed, that phrase became her shadow. Every time someone whispered it, it wasn't a triumph. It was a joke. And your 4 words, "just tagging our divorce lawyer," became the closing line to her downfall. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you have to think about this story in the comments below. Like the story.